and that be their algorithm. And I cannot say that I know for sure, but hypothetically, I would assume that these individuals do provide a certain quantity of capital to the individual person that is in their videos, for several reasons. Because you have contracts, you have to get their authenticity to be recorded, so or their consent to be recorded in certain states. You have to get uh, uh, if you're profiting from it, you have to have some type of arrangement because they're entitled to royalties. So unless you buy them off in the moment where they're not going to try to come back after your podcast for all the money that you made off of their likeness on your show, you have to kind of buy them off in the moment, or you have to make sure that when they come onto the show that they agree to being strictly voluntary, where they're entitled to no compensation. It is better for you to get it in writing, but you can declare it in the podcast that they are well aware that their actions here are strictly voluntary, that they're not entitled to compensation for any reason, and whatever profits that you make off of their likeness on the show is, uh, yours. Now, when they are doing these shows to buy something for somebody and give it to somebody else, uh, some people are doing that because they're making a way more money off of the podcast in order to uh get deductions off of the kind of profits that they're making off of the YouTube channel. Because there are people who make a lot of money off of YouTube, $10,000, $15,000 a month or more off of YouTube. Typically, those people operate in the top 3% of YouTube, but there are some people on YouTube that are making a large quantity of money off the channel. Uh, but clickbait channels are going to be making more money than reality-based channels. That's just the case. And the do they really help people um, on camera? Yes, but when you help people for ratings, you are not genuinely helping people for the sake of knowing that they need help and knowing that you have the capability to help them. Because if I knew somebody needed help, I would help them. And ironically, that would not be recorded and put up on my podcast. I might talk about it on the show because it delayed me getting to the show, but I would not have a camera crew following me. Oh, somebody needs help. Let's go help them. Oh, because if you're only running over there to go help somebody because there's a camera crew on you, the question really is, if there wasn't a camera crew there, would you have helped that person? That's the difference. I need a raise to 5 cents an hour going forward. Well, that's 2 cents an hour more than what I would be. Actually, how much am I getting on this show right now? It's probably about $1 out of the day at most on most days, just based off of ads. Because one of the things that a lot of the podcast makes the most money on is not so much uh, Google ads. That pays pennies. The podcasters typically make money off of selling memorabilia, sponsorship contracts, um, endorsement deals, collaboration deals where they promote products on their show and people pay them for it. You have other scenarios where um, the fans donate to the channel. They either donate to put their comments on the screen, they donate to have their like with Fresh and Fit for their voice to be on the show. They pay like $100 or something like that to the show, and that is what really fuels the success of the channel financially, is the involvement of the membership. So when people have that $50 a show to throw down on the show because the show is a damn good show and they're benefiting from it, all the people that do that, that is what generates a lot of revenue on the show, not the ads that interfere with your ability to watch the show because you're not willing to pay for YouTube Premium. But think about, if you were paying YouTube Premium, you would be paying like $15 a month so that you did not have ads on the show. But if you were paying $15 a month on the show, this show would be a members only show that wouldn't get hit with ads. And at $15 a month per person, 85,000 people, if you A lot of private shows. Everybody would see me going live and not know how to get in. Yeah. Oh, camera changes the dynamic, bro. The camera changes the whole dynamic. And then when you think about here's a quick thing before we go into today's topic that you need to really consider with that, Dylan. Just because you said camera changes, notice they interacted with the person. This is allegedly supposed to be a first time interaction with the person, right? Now, how many frame changes did they do from the time they walked up until the time that they finished the action? If they are showing their interaction with you, your interaction with them from three different camera angles in linear fashion, they ran that skit three times. They cannot have three different camera angles in a live video feed. They can only have a one directional. I'm recording. I know I'm recording. You didn't know I was recording. I'm doing something for you. It should only be a first person action recording situation. If you had two other people, one on my left and one on my right, you would have what we call crossfire. At least one cameraman would be caught on camera most of the time, because if my camera's pointed at you and the cameraman standing over your shoulders pointing at me, he should be in a shot with you. And then the cameraman standing off to my side, he should be in a shot with him. So there should at least be one, if not two cameramen seen in one of the three different camera angles in linear fashion. And if that's not the case, the only way you can pull that off, just like with the WWE, in order for you to pull it off live, you have to have the camera guys in the shot. But in order for you to pull it off in the moment, you would have to redo it multiple times in order for you to not have the cameraman in there. So to have three, five different angles. Here's another thing. Think about how the camera is properly positioned for the person that's about to be ambushed, right? Camera still. Person walks up onto the camera, starts engaging with the person, walks off for the camera. You cannot tell me that the person sitting in front of the camera didn't see somebody sitting up the camera. You can't tell me that the person who is on this camera does not know that that person on the other side has got a GoPro pointed at them, and then somebody comes up and interacts with them. So these situations are somewhat staged. That's just the ideology there. And you can't have real reactions from three camera angles, and none of the cameramen are in the camera angles. You can't have that. So is everything that he's doing staged? Probably not. Is everything that a lot of the people are doing staged? Probably not. But I can tell you that the while the first time the reaction might have been real, they probably ran it back two or three times, just like Exhibit Fit My Ride, to get a real or the expected reaction that they wanted to get, and then they just edited out all of the failed attempts, and then they paid the person for being on the video. So they did get something out of the deal, but it's not the way people think it is. True charity action, even if I was doing it, it would be a first person camera angle, because who the fuck's going to be in the moment? Oh yeah, we're going to go buy a house for somebody, and I just walk up and just give a homeless person some keys. That's going to be a first person angle. That's going to be a body cam, a head cam, something like that, where the other person knows that they're being recorded because they see an out of place camera on me as I walk up on him having a conversation with him. And then you would see from my angle the keys going to that person. There would never be a frame change. There would never be a shift or anything to that effect, because I'm out there doing it on my lonesome. If I'm out there doing it with a team, everybody standing behind me, you're going to see different angles of me talking to him, which means that you'll see the angle with me wearing whatever camera gear that I'm wearing. You see what I'm saying? It's not a scenario where you can have a real world experience where no one's holding a camera, but everybody's caught from 40 different angles. It doesn't happen in reality. Now, today we're supposed to be talking about building wealth through smart dating. And first thing that we're going to be talking about is recognizing what to look for. I also curated today's information to detail how to identify individuals who came off of financial hard times who are still working in the positive direction of self improvement, where if you find this person, you'll be able to dive right in on that. Oh, quick question. He said, okay, then how do you suppose then the prank YouTubers get that shot without the person knowing about the cameras? Uh, long range camera, but not that long of a range camera. Because how the fuck do you? Where do you hide the camera in a grocery store to prank somebody down the aisle? Then, uh, then think about certain place. How do you put a camera in a park and nobody standing in front of the camera? Nobody blocks the camera. You have to understand that it does take strategic down the street. So for example, pranks on the sidewalk, you can pull that off. But think about those pranks on the sidewalk, one direction, no frame changes. You're not gonna have how I got you and how you got from two different angles. The instant pranks came from individuals who may have had the camera downrange, and I'm going to get this person right here, and they're going to jump into the camera and go grab that person in line of sight with that camera. That person could have seen the camera set up and not knew what it was for, kept walking, and then somebody came out of nowhere and started pranking them. They're not paying attention to the fact that they walk past the camera because 90% of the things that we look at on a daily basis, we don't pay attention to. Our brain captures that image, but we did not analyze it. Detectives, police officers, CIA agents, FBI, military, they pay attention to their surroundings. But the average individual does not. So they can walk past the camera, see what's going on, and then be like, it is what it is. He said, but yes, answer when able. Let's get to the show. Yeah, we're gonna get in there. Yeah, we're gonna get to the show. Longer range camera is like a telescope. No, no, because this S23 Ultra can set up zoom, and I could put my phone on one side of the block, and I can have it pointing directly at something, and then I could just zoom in a certain quantity, and I know what area is in that zoomed area. And it could be sitting on a phone stand just recording in one side of the block, and then I can go like inside of the range of the phone and then be recording myself interacting with somebody, but the phone is on the opposite side of the thing. Now, am I risking my phone being stolen? Of course. Can they have a second person over there monitoring the camera so that everything's good? Of course. But that's a one directional situation. To get it from both angles, where the person that gets got is caught looking at me on camera versus me catching the other person, that stage. That's what I'm saying. A one directional is a legit scenario. Multiple different angles, that stage. Tap those likes, y'all. We match those likes. We know what we're talking about. Now, the single biggest financial decision that you'll make isn't what stock to pick, especially as men. It's not about which house to buy or even the career you pursue. It's who you choose to spend your life with, because that's going to cost you the most money. Some research suggests a good partner can boost your net worth by $250,000. And that's just for starters. Other studies show that married individuals often accumulate significantly more wealth than their unmarried counterparts. So, one analyst found married households have more than twice the average assets of others. And yet, here's another paradoxical truth. For many people, the very thing that could be their greatest financial asset is their single greatest source of stress. Many of us recognize money is a leading cause of conflict in relationships, well over affairs. And for one in three partnered Americans, it's the source of tension. So we plan our careers and obsess over our investments, regardless of how good or how bad they could be. But when we often leave the most important and most impactful financial decision to chance, we find ourselves in a totally different situation. We're driven by emotion, swiping right, falling in love, just hoping the financial baggage, secrets, debts, clashing spending habits, totally different dreams for the future will all magically sort itself out without us doing anything about it. It won't. Choosing a partner is a wealth building decision. And oh, yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I've got what's left of my pie. Another reason why I was late today. I don't know a man that doesn't like pie. Know a few women that like pie too. Um, so, since choosing a partner is a wealth building decision and ignoring this decision is a high stakes gamble. A supportive partner can compound your growth for decades, while a reckless one can compound your liabilities until you're dead and buried, probably working you into an early grave. He said, "Yeah, true. We make too many bad uh, describes by us men thinking with our feelings too much. Yeah, we. Oh, look, I like all kinds of pie, buddy. uh, yeah, we definitely make a few dozen poor decisions as men because we typically go after the girl because of her looks. A lot of us think about the partner based on whether or not she puts out. We do not pay attention to what she's capable of. Women believe that they should be valued by their career choice and their education, even though they complain about contributing to their um, boyfriend or husband's financial needs, and their knowledge is not utilized to help their boyfriend or husband to brainstorm issues. They believe that we should value them for their knowledge and their career choice. Now, the other conflict of interest we have with this, while I believe that brilliant women are fantastic for a successful relationship, I believe that financially successful women are fantastic for starting a family. However, without dredging up certain trees, I also believe that we have an issue where women are overly sexualizing themselves and then only choosing to involve themselves with a person that is willing to spend exuberant quantities of money. Now, this brings together the wrong partnership because by over sexualizing herself, a guy is not going to look at her and be with her because she's smart, because she's capable, because she's contributing. They're going to be with her because she's sexually attractive. He's going to be with her for how often she puts out. She's not with the guy because he's financially stable, that he makes good financial decisions, that he's willing to support her financial needs. She's with him because he spends a lot of money. The problem with that for both sides, a highly successful woman can get with a financially irresponsible man and go bankrupt just because she thought he was rich because he had an expensive car or he was living in a big house that turned out to be him house sitting for somebody else. A financially successful man could get with a financially irresponsible woman and go bankrupt just because she looks good and she's willing to sleep with him, not because she's capable of doing anything. So today we're going to change all of that. We're going to explore the wealth building mechanics that successful couples use to get ahead. And this isn't about finding a rich partner. It's about uh, finding a rich partnership. That's the best way to put it. And we will break down the actionable, sometimes uncomfortable, but absolute critical steps to find a partner who is true financial assets. Or if you're already in a relationship, how to become that powerhouse couple yourselves. So this doesn't mean that you need to break up with your partner because they don't fit the mold. If the information that I'm giving you today you resonate with, but you don't see it in your relationship, all you have to do is take the time to communicate with your partner and then implement these goals and these tasks in your relationships to a magnitude where you start seeing more benefit for the both of you. So we're going to cover some hidden economics and identify the engine of a partnership, the red flags that act as wealth destroying time bombs, and the frameworks that you can use to build a financial life that is a source of strength and security, not stress. Now, let's start with the big number because it puts things into perspective. In one survey, people who reported a positive financial impact from their relationship, that number was staggering, is a significant portion, nearly 24%, estimating that their partner added between $100,000 and $249,999 to their net worth, almost $250,000. And this isn't a small benefit. This is a life-changing capital. There's a flip side though, because when relationships go wrong, the financial devastation can be just as powerful. Because among those who suffered financially from a partnership, over 17% reported losses exceeding $250,000 as well. Think about that for a second. The person you love, you chose them, holds the potential to either give you massive financial advantages or saddle you with a huge loss. Now, this is the magnitude of the decisions that we so often make in the dark or under some strobe lights, loud music, fog machines in the back of bathroom of a nightclub. Yeah, those folks. Shared hobbies and whether they get along with our friends. All of that is important, but we often push the money talk to later, way later. And sometimes that later never comes. It feels awkward or unromantic, so we don't want to have that. But refusing to talk about money is a financial decision. It's a very terrible one at well. Oh my goodness. Why are you advertising for your boss? Talking about some KFC is hiring. If you don't want to work there, why do you want everyone else on the show to work there? You should buy us all a bucket of chicken for that nonsense. Back to the important part. The reality is that we screen for everything else except for financial success. Matter of fact, women judge a man based on the clothes that he's wearing, the car that he drives, but not how good he keeps his budget. Men don't care if a woman has a car. Men don't care if a woman has a job. Men don't care if a woman have a good vocabulary. She can be dumber than a box of rocks as long as she's attractive. But you're also not paying attention to her financial savvy. We have some involved in crypto dating a chick that thinks that Bitcoin is actually a coin. Okay. That speaks volumes in and of itself. If you think that Bitcoin is actually a actual coin, you're in financial trouble. And we're often afraid to touch one of the most critical values that we need to have in a successful relationship, and that is financial responsibility. Yet studies show that financial responsibility is one of the most attractive traits to single Americans. One of the reasons why, Dylan, we got to go to the Philippines, passport bro up, and go get us some women because the women in the Philippines tried their best to save you money inherently so that you got more money to spend on food. True to life. It's not so that you have enough money to spend on them, it's so that you have enough money to spend on food. Because in their culture, especially in lower income areas, food is hard to come by. Money for food is hard to come by. So, doing things to save money on the cost of food or the cost of stuff that's not food keeps more money coming into the house that they can spend towards food. If you were the kind of person to get top dollar food and she's the kind of person to save you money on repair people and maintenance guys and all this other stuff, the money you was wasting on help, you could keep getting the luxury food and now you got more money to spend on your girl that does not take extra money out of your pocket. Because think about this, America, special shout out to all the countries around the world, but think about this real quick, America. For the ladies, real quick, because I ain't trying to bash y'all. I just want y'all to think about this real quick. You want a good man that will pay for your hair, your nails, your makeup, buy you nice clothes. You can do it all by yourself, but when you're in a relationship, you expect him to show you that he cares about you and he values you by doing these things for you, right? Get you nice things, gifts, purses, handbags, jewelry, this, that, and stuff, and all that stuff costs money. Now, when something breaks, you expect him to pay for somebody to fix it. When something needs to, the lawn needs to be cut, roof needs to be repaired, you expect him to pay somebody to come and fix that stuff. Car breaks down, you expect him to pay somebody to fix that stuff. Now, he is paying for the help. He is paying for your entertainment. He is paying for your gifts, and he's paying for your upkeep. And some, not all, some women still complain about having to cater to the man because that's supposed to be oppressive. Now, the Filipino women that will fix the washer and dryer, build all the furniture, work on a car, build your motorcycle, work on the house, do your hair, take care of your elderly family members, saves the family money because she's doing it. Now, the money that you're not spending on the help, you can spend on her, which means that it's easier for you to get her more stuff because you're not paying a third person that's not in the house to do the stuff that needs to be done around the house. Things that you're capable of because women are very smart, women are very talented, and unlike men, women are very dedicated to whatever the fuck they want to accomplish. Where men, no matter how dedicated they are, will clearly be distracted by an attractive chick passing by or a very sexy car or a really awesome gun. So at the end of the day, women are very much more capable than men. And while we recognize that, what do you build in your relationships? I understand when you want something, men are supposed to be psychics and we're supposed to figure it out. But what do you build in your relationships? And I know there's a lot of y'all women on the show right now. Speak up and tell me what y'all build. Think about it real quick now. What do you build in your relationship? Most relationships, when a man gets into a relationship with a woman, to some degree, he does something to build her up. A woman can admit to, they may not be willing to, but they can admit to something that they have now, something that they've achieved now, something that they kept from the relationship that they didn't have before the relationship, that wasn't an opportunity before the relationship. They walked away better than what they started. Most men do not walk away from a relationship better than what they started. And no woman can testify to that. No woman can step up and say, I built my man's business and then I walked away from it. I helped my man become a Fortune 500 scenario and I walked away from that. You know, they don't do that. No person can say I made Elon Musk what he is today and then I walked away from that. The fact is, women want him to be the finished product so that they can benefit from what he is. But what are you building in the relationship? What does he get out of, besides sex, the relationship with you? I just want y'all to think about that real quick as we go through this, because transactionally in Western culture, relationships, including marriage, is the norm now. What you're getting out of the deal is part of the reason why you're in it. Dylan said it yesterday. A lot of relationships, sometimes bad ones, come together because of financial hardships. And he's right. Two people get together, live in the same place, and sometimes establish a relationship because they can't afford to do it by themselves. Then they stay in that bad relationship because they can't afford to leave. Now you got a toxic relationship, fussing and fighting and arguing, cussing one another out, doing it for the sake of the kids. But all of this stems from the fact that you couldn't afford to do it by yourself. We operate with a massive blind spot. The issue isn't that we don't care about financial compatibility. It's that we don't know how to screen for it without feeling like we're conducting a job interview. Invented Prime. Special shout out to Invented Prime. I greatly appreciate you. He said, dang, I'm surprised not enough people watch this. You know your stuff. I'm surprised you're not a multi-billionaire. Well, I started from the bottom. I started from bankrupt and worked my way up. Okay. And most of us in our middle ages has had some type of financial hardships in our past because we did not have the knowledge that we needed to know to make the financial decisions that we needed to make in our personal lives and in our business lives, that prevented us from being those multi-billionaires that we should have been had we had the proper knowledge from childhood. We cannot fault our parents 100% of the way for not having the knowledge when we were kids to teach us the things that we're supposed to know before we became adults and needed to utilize it. We can fault our parents for not putting in the effort to make our educational systems actually teach our children not just how to count, but how to make, save, and invest money so that their kids stop learning how to waste money and start learning how to invest in themselves. We should be teaching our kids, now that Donald Trump has shut down the Department of Education, on how to make enough money to pay for your own damn college education so that your parents don't got to pay for your college education. We are not teaching our kids to be self sustainable. Our kids are not taught to be self sustainable because we were not taught to be self sustainable. And self sustainable is not trying to make ends meet. Self sustainable means that you could cover the spread and you got extra. Self sustainable means that you are able to run this shit with nobody else there. If you got a roommate, you're not self sustainable. If you're splitting the cost with somebody, you're not self sustainable. And if you're going broke trying to prove that you can do it by yourself, you're still not self sustainable. Okay. You got 50 grand in stocks, you think you're doing something good, but you are still living check to check. You are not self sustainable. Because if the government gives you a big middle finger like they did in October, and your money stopped coming in for October, November, and December, if you are not getting your entire standard of living and some from somewhere else where you don't need to step out of your house to get paid, you are not self sustainable. And here on This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we come up with so many different areas of information that people do not realize. This is supposed to be common knowledge. It is easily accessible. You can Google this on the internet and you would learn so many things, but nobody looks, nobody tries. Nobody thinks about what do I want to fix in my life and then Google it and see how do I make it happen. But here's the funny thing. In order for you to Google the information to find a solution to your problem, somebody had to post the answer, which means that somebody else has already crossed the problem that you're crossing today. And that person took it upon themselves to put the information together for you so that you would have the answers to your questions, all of the answers to your questions. You got more people looking at those Epstein files and the Diddy trial than you have people on this podcast trying to figure out how to make their relationships financially more successful. Priorities. Because how does the Epstein files negatively impact your day to day finances? How does the Diddy trial negatively impact your car note? One thing that Dylan brought up yesterday was the 50-year mortgage that Donald Trump was talking about. That's the kind of stuff you're supposed to be paying attention to. While that has not gone into effect yet, if it did, when it does, how do you get on it if you already got a mortgage? And how do you benefit from it? We're going to talk about that on Saturday. But yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. So many more people should be here. We should be a billion views off of over 100 million subscribers, but knowledge is probably one of the most underrated items in YouTube, in social media, really. Chaos, violence, sexualized behavior, devaluing yourself for a laugh. That's the most popular stuff. Blowing something up, burning something down, shooting something up. It's the most popular stuff. But learning how to better yourself, probably the most undervalued style of podcast that exists in every platform. I'm glad to be one of the best, but not nearly enough people are watching, but they should. Now, continuing on, the reluctance that people have is real and quantifiable at cost. Dating is expensive. We all know this. We all agree to it, regardless of whether or not who pays, regardless of whether or not who should pay. We know that it's not affordable. We just calculated the numbers yesterday and realized that between your smoking habit, your drinking habit, your clubbing habit, your dating habit, that you can spend upward of 50,000 a year on not your finances, not your basic financial needs. Some data suggests that the average cost of a date can be well over $100 when you factor in everything from dinner to transportation. Take bowling, for example. Dylan, you remember back in the day when we were young and we used to go bowling, we used to go skating, ice skating, or roller skating, or something to that effect. Now, we're not going to talk about movies, but movies are another thing because movies is costing a lot of money too. But bowling, you buy the bowling shoes, you pay for the lane. Um, and let's say that you go there for the afternoon. We're just going to bowl to the place closes down. You know, that's about $45 a person to buy the shoes and buy the lane. And then if you buy food and drinks, if you buy alcoholic drinks, now you're looking at $150 night to go bowling for two people, about $75 a person. The stuff that we used to do back in the day that used to be nothing, it is expensive. So if a couple goes on 10 dates before becoming official, that's over $1,000 spent just to find a partner. And it depends on if you go on 10 dates in 1 month with the same person, which is roughly 3 or 4 dates a week, or if you go on 10 dates over the course of 10 weeks. I don't think you'd go on 10 dates over the course of 10 weeks before you become official because we move too fast as Americans. I believe you'd probably do 2 dates a week and probably knock that out in over 5 weeks. But that's just a start. And with these rising costs, it's no surprise that many uncoupled Americans are adjusting their dating plans for financial reasons. They feel the financial pressure of dating, yet they still avoid the very conversation that could prevent a much greater financial disaster down the road. And the impact of a bad partnership isn't just about money lost during the relationship, it's the catastrophic cost of a breakup, it's legal fees, moving expenses, and the opportunity cost of starting over. And once they found that for many divorced women, the event created a financial crisis. It's the years spent rebuilding, the retirement savings depleted, and the emotional tolls that cripples your ability to focus on your careers, which crushes your capability to make that financial success that you're looking on. He said, "Hold on, I gotta loosen my belt to turn." Well, shoot, I'm still over here nibbling on the pie. How did they don't make them like this no more? I'm glad that you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, though. I got pumpkin pie and coffee right now. This is the jam. I'm gonna make another pie after the show. Now, that $250,000 swing is real, and it's often determined by the financial character of the person you choose. The first step to getting on the right side of that number is to stop treating financial compatibility as taboo and start treating it as a core pillar of a successful relationship. So, how does this wealth creation actually happen? Where does the $250,000 or even more come from? Because it's not magic, it's math. The most obvious average is the power of shared fixed costs. And this is the economic engine of the couple's financial life. So imagine this: two single people, Sarah and Tom. Ah, yeah, we'll do Sarah and Tom. I was about to say I don't like Tom because Brady's got a bad name. I'm gonna keep knocking him. Not to mention, didn't his wife leave him for a coach? Ooh. Um, that's none of my business. Um, if Sarah has an apartment and her $1,800 a month cost is fixed, Tom is the same. He's got his own place, and that's $1,800 cost. That's right, Michael. It's a financial function. Their combined cost is $3,600. They each pay for their own utilities, internet, and streaming services. Now, imagine that Sarah and Tom got together and moved into a slightly larger apartment for $2,500 a month. They go from two separate apartments to one slightly larger apartment. Instantly, they freed up $1,100 every single month, which is about $13,200 a year that can be redirected into savings, down payments, or investment portfolios. This principle applies to dozens of expenses. Groceries are cheaper per person when you bought in bulk. You only need one set of furniture, one vacuum, one Netflix account. The cost of sharing efficiencies is the foundation of wealth acceleration for couples and structural advantage that singles simply don't have. But the real acceleration happens when couples start truly integrating their financial lives. And I told you that if you are trying to marry a woman from overseas, in order to validate the relationship, you guys would have to intertwine your lives. So she would have to be aware of some of your financial status and be capable of contributing towards that. This is for those women that are getting, or not just women, men too, that are just foreigners that are trying to get a U.S. visa through marriage, a marriage visa. You have to show that you're becoming a family, and usually you share information like that. Now, I know that's going to be hard in my relationship because I don't talk to anybody about anything other than where's the food. But I do debrief the other people in my household about what's being spent and where the money's coming from. Um, but how do you access the accounts? What the monthly platform looks like? How much is there? How much was spent? And how much we've got coming in? Those are the three questions that I answer. But what's the password? How do I log in? I never answer those questions. So Michael says never too early to start putting money away, and you'll never be younger than you are today. He does make a good point. And one of the true things about it is that if you start putting money away for your kids now, even though you didn't put it away at their birth, if you start putting money away for your kids now, when your kids get old enough, you can put that money towards buying them a new car, or not just a new car, new to them car. Like get them their first car, get them their first used $5,000 car. Your goal is to save up $10,000 before your child's 18th birthday. And this is what you're going to do as a parent, as a fit parent. You are going to finance your car to your child for a 15% interest rate. Yeah, it's roughly in range with probably less than what they would have gotten from a bank or a dealership, but you will teach them financial responsibility. You'll be able to work out the payment options with them, and they will have the car. You will have the title until they pay you off, and you guys have a little bit of a contract there, and you keep getting your interest from them. You're not going to help them fix the car because that is going to come at a different cost, but it prevents them from having to borrow against a stone and have impacts on their credit that they're not ready to manage. You start teaching your kids financial responsibility. Even if you bought them a car at 16, you lease the car to them. You teach them, get a job, work for this. They will value the car because they earned it, and they will be able to you be able to show them responsibility by doing it, and you get your money back off of the car. So don't give it to them as a gift. Sell it to them, lease it to them, turn a profit off of it. Some parents are going to be like, "That's bullshit." Nah, if you love your kids, you do. No, it. Most parents will say if you love your kids, you'll beat their ass when they're small, so that the police don't beat their ass on the street when they're grown. So if you love your kids, you will I'll take that. He said, this guy looks like a court appointed attorney in the Matrix. Well, if I'm a court appointed attorney, then you can't afford an attorney, and I'm the one that's going to help you save your money. So, um, and yeah, the dynamic of it is that if you love your kids, you'll teach them financial responsibilities by issuing them money from working for it, and then you will issue them the capabilities to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes with you before you start introducing them to real financial institutions that will negatively impact their credit. Because as I taught you guys earlier this year on the show, that you could make your kids authorized users of your accounts where they don't get issued a credit card, but they are attached to your lines of credit, which boosts up their credit score. Then, before you introduce them to what their credit score is and how to use it, you show them how to be fiscally responsible, how to take out a loan, how to make payments responsibly, um, how to pay down debt, when to take out loans, how to leverage assets, all of the things that needs to be known before you introduce them to the financial world of loans and borrows and everything to that effect, so that they can be better prepared at it. If they know what to do and how to do it, they can do it with confidence, which would change their dynamic with how to get stuff done. Kid crashes a car, you're not mad. It's not your car. You're not fixing it. So instead of them, oh snap, my parents is gonna kill me. No, they're gonna think, fuck, I gotta pay for this shit because my parents aren't gonna help me. Big difference. And Michael said Netflix costs monthly average of $25 per month, which is about $300 a year. That's exactly right. He said, let your own kids save and buy their own car. Now you could do that too, but remember this, Michael. Um, under your family's LLC, if your kids are an employee working for the family business, whatever it is that you got them doing, the money that you're giving them as an allowance can be a paycheck that you can claim on your taxes. True to life story, and then you could show them how to invest in themselves, and you can show them how to invest in their car, and you can save up the money to buy them a car, and then you can lease that car to them, or you can finance that car to them under a contract, which is pretty much the same thing, but you're doing it under a safe atmosphere where they can learn how to be financially responsible and gain the title to that car from you. The same way if the bank bought it and gave you the keys, and now you got to make those payments to the bank until you pay off the car. Because the title belongs to the bank, even though the car's in your name, the title belongs to the bank until you pay off the car. And if you don't pay off the car gets repossessed. Now, this does change the dynamic of control and parenting in that situation. We're going to get back to the main topic. Hold on a second. But you have to understand that um, when kids uh, are the true owners of the vehicle, even though they're financing the car from you, you're not going to take their car as a punishment because they didn't follow your instructions. It's their car; they're going to do whatever they want to do with it. But at the same time, you're like I told you guys before, y'all can negotiate things like punishments. You can ground them, and then they can pay you bail money to get out of their grounding. The same way you would bond out of jail when you get arrested for doing something stupid. All of these things work towards showing them real life cost and effect on how their decisions cost them money in the household as kids growing up, which also eliminates a lot of dysfunction in the family because instead of you arguing with your kids about what time they're supposed to be home, you tax them for it. You want to come in after a certain time of night, you got to pay the cost to get in. The same way you got to pay the cost to get into a hotel. You want to stay past 11 o'clock, $300. Sure, you can stay past 11 o'clock, $300. You don't got it. You got to be home at 8 o'clock. If you can't show that you're financially capable of doing this, you're under my financial control. You're under my financial control. You're under my rules, and under my rules, I tell you be back at 8 o'clock. When you can financially hold yourself down, you come back whenever you want to come back down. So let me put a dollar sign on it, and I guarantee you'll see it works so much better because the kids are going to work harder to be responsible, spend their money wisely. They know they want to stay the night by their friend's house. They're going to pay you $500 stay the night by their friend's house. You can give them the $500 back to have them do something for you, like move the furniture around, cut the lawn, whatever the case may be. The money going back and forth with one another is teaching them responsibility, and that's the whole portion of this part of the conversation. And we're going to get back to the relationship portion of things in just a moment. He said they will appreciate the car more. Well, they will appreciate the car. Yes, you're right. They will appreciate the car more if they had to earn it. If you hand it to them, they don't appreciate shit. But if they had to earn it from you or earn it in general, yeah, they're going to appreciate the car. Teach them how to balance a check. Teach them what a checkbook is, how to balance a stock portfolio, how to balance assets, how to balance debt versus income. We use that phrase, how to balance a checkbook, but most stuff is online these days, and most of us don't even have a checkbook anymore. Let them bank let the bank own it and take it. Great lesson. Yeah, exactly. Cheaper to get a motel. No, it's not cheaper to get a motel. No, no. To get back in your house with all your stuff, you got to pay the rent, don't you? So it's not cheaper to get a motel because it's my house until you start paying rent. So I mean, if you coming back whenever you feel like it, I'm gonna have to charge you to live here. If you can pay the cost, you can pay the cost to be the boss. You can do whatever you want. But when you can't afford to pay the cost to be the boss, you do as I say. You see what I'm saying? And that's the dynamic. You pay the cost to be the boss of your own life. But until you can afford to do whatever you want to do, you do what I tell you to do. It's almost like my house, my rules. Instead of if you don't like it, you can get out. It's like, well, if you don't like it, pay the difference. That's what we do with the government. We don't like what the judge said, do we pay the difference? We pay the traffic we pay the traffic ticket so that we can speed. We pay high insurance so that we don't have to follow instructions. Your kids pay rent to live with you. That's the smartest parents in the world. Because why the hell do I have three, five, seven dependents and all of them is getting free rides? Y'all better have a job at six. Mm. walking dogs and doing your own laundry. We gonna have them out there being responsible. I don't know. Look. Donald Trump is giving children stock portfolios at birth. He's already hitting the ground running. Before the child know how to poop in its own diaper, the child's got more money in the bank than most adults. Okay, you might as well teach them before they know how to cuss you out, how to be responsible with their stuff. Okay. Instead of teaching them the value of name brand clothes and how to go and buy expensive stuff to look expensive while being broke, you teach them how to save some money so that they got more money in their pocket to do some stuff, which all ties into today's show because research published by the Journal of Consumer Research found that couples who merge their finances in a joint bank account tend to preserve or persevere stronger relationship quality compared to the other individuals who keep their money separate. And why do you think that this is? Because pooling resources isn't just a logistical choice, it is a psychological one. So instead of running out there and getting married and you don't know who the fuck you got going on, why don't y'all get a joint bank account as an what do you call that? Uh, promissory engagement, pre-engagement engagement. You start talking about, oh, we should move in together. Hold on. Let's get a joint bank account first and see how well that goes. I got to make sure that you can handle your money right. You know what I'm saying? This transforms my money and your money into our money. Same thing with the kids. Kids want stuff. Mommy, daddy, I want. Right? However, when they earn, it's a scenario where they can only get what they can afford. Y'all remember when we was young and I want McDonald's, and mama would look at you and say, you got some McDonald's money? It's the same thing. You take your kids somewhere, oh, I want this. All right, go get it. And then when we standing at the register, this is separate. He's getting that, and I'm getting this. Now look at my child. When are you paying for it? This is the dynamic. You don't have to stop them from doing the things that they want to do in life as long as they can afford to do it. And you teach them how they can legally do that. He said, prenuptial engagement. Yes, prenuptial engagement. This type of behavior is going to foster a sense of teamwork and mutual accountability. It is going to require some negotiation because you guys have to deliberate as to what you're going to do with your finances and how you're going to accomplish that. You're no longer two individuals trying to optimize your own individual finances. You are a single economic unit working towards a shared vision. That's where the tax laws come into your favor. This is going to bring us to how you structure your finances. One common approach is to completely merge, where all income flows into a joint account. Now, this method maximizes transparency and simplifies budgeting. It does lead you into a larger quantity of jeopardy because you have more individuals who can clean out the whole bank account when they decide to leave, and all your side of the money is gone as well. So this does build a higher level of trust. Me myself, I would recommend that you would funnel the portion of money that you're willing to leave in the relationship into that account, and then the rest of the money that you're going to reserve for yourself, that you keep that in your own account. Ladies who want to build emergency funds, you can do that. Emergency funds occurs when women are in domestic violence situations and they need to escape. They call it an escape fund, uh, and they need to leave and they need some money to fall back on. You can take a percentage of the money that you earn and put it into your own account, and then take the rest of the money that you make and put it into your joint account, so that if something happens in your relationship and it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you still have money that nobody can mess with, that allows you to relocate so that you're not trapped in a bad situation. That's fine to do. Just don't take money from your partner to build that account. That's the only thing I object to. Do not take money from your partner out of the relationship without their knowledge or consent to fund your I'm gonna leave your ass bank account. That's not what it's for. Okay, show respect. Now Michael says let her handle the money. Let her show me that she know how to handle money. Instead of putting on a really tight outfit and showing me all your naughty bits, why don't you show me that you know how to save money, spend money, and invest money? Every woman knows how to spend it. You put $1,000 in their hand and they will guarantee you come back with a bunch of shit. But how many women can you put $1,000 in their hand and they bring you back 1,100? How many women can you put $1,000 in their hand and they bring you back 3,000? Matter of fact, if you put $1,000 in her hand and she brings you back 2,500 and keeps the other 500 for herself and tell you thank you, I appreciate that, that's a keeper. But if you hand her $1,100 worth of money and she comes back with a gift for you and she spent all the money and all the money is gone, what does that say about that type of person? Okay. And vice versa, ladies. Ladies, y'all know y'all are in the era right now. Y'all got grown ass men playing video games like it's nothing, right? Putting salaries down on online cell phone games, right? Y'all got Fortnite popular, not because of kids, because of adults. The money that people pay for PlayStation Online and Xbox Online, ladies, y'all know y'all got some men that will waste some money on some shit. So it's not just the ladies. And that's just the gamer side of things. You got men that'll waste money on guns. You got men that'll waste money on cars, souping up the car so that they can get a shit ton of traffic tickets on it. You got men that'll waste money on stereo system. The stereo system in the car costs more than the damn car. Can't hear shit. Lost your hearing riding with him. Y'all know men are wasteful too. But if you gave your man $12,000, or not even, look, Lord, don't go that high. But if you gave him $1,200 and he ain't came back with you with $3,200, kept 400 and gave you 3 grand and said appreciate it, what kind of man you got? Think about that, ladies. Y'all successful, Fortune 500 women, alpha boss chicks, right? And y'all are able to earn yours. If you get into a relationship with a dude that can't take your money, flip it, and come back with more money legally, what kind of man you got? You gonna call that a liability, aren't you? Nah. When we flip that script back to normal traditional relationship, if a man put money in a woman's pocket and she walk off with the money and she don't flip it and come back and bring back a profit, that's a liability, isn't it? How do you stop struggling if y'all ain't both trying to build up? So when you both see every dollar that comes into the account and every dollar that goes out of the account, you should be able to make different decisions. It becomes much harder to hide impulse buys, all this Amazon stuff that you got shipped to the house on a regular basis, or neglect savings goals, like not seeing the emergency fund at a specific balance by a specific date. You are accountable to each other because a relationship, a partnership is supposed to have a healthy level of codependency. I count on you to do the things that I can't do, the things I don't have time to do, some of the things I don't want to do. And you count on me to do the same thing. Equality in a healthy relationship is that my woman should take charge on the things that she is more skilled at than I am. And I am supposed to take charge on the things that I am more skilled at than she is. Now, if she gets me to be an all around, all skillful person and I can knock out more stuff than she can knock out, I'm going to be in charge more often than not. But there's stuff that she can do that she can be in control of. Because eventually, even if I'm best between the two of us at everything that needs to be done, I don't have enough time to do it all. So wherever my capabilities stop, her capabilities are supposed to kick in because she elected him to be the first person to get knocked out in the fight. She's a tag team partner. I tag her in so that she can finish off the match, but I'm not supposed to be the one that's going to stand back and watch her get beat down because I'm supposed to be the first one in the bout. Think about that, ladies. The decision to splurge on new gadgets, iPhones, uh, uh, smartwatches, extra technology. It isn't just about the personal budget. It's about the team's progress towards buying that house. So this shared accountability is a powerful force that keeps both partners aligned. He said two will become one. That is true. The easy way or the hard way. It's going to be a symbiotic relationship. I benefit from you and you benefit from me, which still inherently is transactional. The difference is that it is a deliberate level of transactional, not an abusive level of transactional. It is not I'm going to exploit you for whatever you're going to get out of me. It is that I benefit from you truly and you benefit from me truly, right? A partnership also provides dual income stability. So in a world of economic uncertainties where people getting kicked out at the this is why y'all not supposed to work together. If one of y'all worked for the feds and the other one didn't, when half of the family got fired, the other half would have still been at work getting paid. Both of y'all work for the same Fed. Both of y'all got laid off on the same damn day. Oh Lord, I ain't even putting that on the screen. Sit down, Michael. I ain't even gonna repeat that. Look, relying on a single income is risky. So this is where I'm gonna talk about women. Y'all ladies, and I'm not talking bad about y'all right now. Y'all ladies have fought for the movement of not being restricted to the household so that y'all can go and hold income in addition to your partner's income. When y'all were burning bras in the streets for women's equality to go out into the workplace, y'all were fighting for more responsibility. More responsibility. Y'all were not fighting to change responsibilities. Y'all were always the people that were caregivers of the house. Not saying that that's a bad thing and not saying that men can't do it. Men might be able to do it better. It's just a principle of the fact that you were supposed to be able to not just be the caregiver of the house, you would have been the hardworking person that brought in extra income into the house, which actually develops that second shift discussion that we've had on a regular basis. That's where the equality fight was the equal right to get out there and go earn some money, but still maintaining the feminine responsibility of staying at home and doing stuff at the house. Now, in the more egalitarian expectation, the model, not the actual practice, there's supposed to be a second shift for both men and women where, y'all both go out and work and then y'all both share the stuff at the house. But you both know, everyone here knows that in a relationship, it is usually going to be 60-40. It's not going to be 50-50. Some people are going to do more of one thing and some people are going to do more of another. I might cook more than you cook. You might clean more than I clean. I might put the stuff in the dishwasher and get the dishes clean, but you might have to do laundry. It's not going to be 100%. It's not going to be 100% down the middle. Somebody's going to do more of one thing than somebody else, and somebody else is going to do more of something else different than the first person. But you have to understand in these relationships, if one partner faces a layoff or a health issue in a multi income family, the other's income acts as a crucial safety net, which keeps things going. And this stability allows the couples to take calculated risks that a single person might not be able to do, like start a business or investigating more aggressively, investing in things after investigating more aggressively, being able to take higher risks. The engine of wealth for a couple isn't just about saving money on rent, it's the powerful combination of efficiency, psychology, alignment, and risk reduction that allows two people to build a future that would be much harder to build alone. So, if the right person can be your greatest financial asset, the wrong one can be your most devastating liability. And certain behaviors aren't just quirks, they're financial time bombs. Ignoring them is like ignoring a crack in your home's foundation. And it might seem small at first, but it will eventually threaten the entire structure. And these are the wealth destroying red flags that you cannot afford to ignore. Now, the first and most critical is a complete unwillingness to discuss money. You dating somebody and they don't want to talk about bills, you got a problem. If your partner shuts down or gets defensive whenever you bring up finances, pay close attention. An inability to talk about money is a massive barrier to building a life together. How can you plan for a future when you can't even discuss the resources needed to build it? Often, this avoidance is a symptom of a deeper problem, like hiding a mountain of secret debt or chaotic financial habits. Financial infidelity is a real and destructive force. And surveys have found that over 40% of partnered adults have committed it, and for many, it has led to serious conflicts about money. And financial infidelity is lying about where the money is going, lying about where the money is coming from, withholding information, and making purchases that nobody knew anything about that ultimately, at some point in time, negatively impacts the relationship. You thought you had enough, but now you don't. Secrets also breeds mistrust and makes a true partnership impossible. Is it learn to communicate, and 80% of your problems will go away. He does make sense. Slide the problems. You are not sliding problems under the rug, Michael. That is not how you resolve them. Your relationship should not operate like the US government. slide your slide all of your problems underneath a top secret file with no clearance, with no accessible clearance to get to it. Y'all make sure that y'all like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons as y'all watch the show tonight. The second red flag that we need to think about is chronic overspending and living beyond their means. Now I'm gonna take a segue on this, but I'm gonna go into this real quick, ladies. Y'all need to think about this. Y'all need to really, really think about this, ladies. And I'm not talking about y'all right now, but I'm telling y'all that y'all need to think about this. We all enjoy treating ourselves, but there's a huge difference between an occasional indulgence and a pattern of spending that consistently outstrips the income. This is the partner who seems to be flaunting a lifestyle their income doesn't support. Pay attention, ladies. Y'all get got with them bait cars, the gold digger videos. Think about this, ladies. You see a fellow, expensive car. Where'd the money come from? Where's the money going? Does he own the car, or does he just have possession of the car? Is he renting it? Is he leasing it? Is he financing it? I don't care what kind of car it is. I want to know how you spend your money. First few questions that women could give a damn what your name is. Who are you might be one of the first three questions she asks. But what do you want? What do you do for a living? Are like the two most important questions that a woman wants to know. Not how do you budget your finances? Okay, I see you got a nice car. It looks good. I want to go a ride in it. But do you own that? Not is it yours? It's yours because it's in your possession. Possession is 9/10 of the law. Do you own it free and clear? Are you financing it? Are you leasing it? Are you renting it? Is it a rental car? Do you just have it for the day? Or do you have it for the week? What's going on? How much do you pay per month for this car? Because I don't give a shit about the car. I want to know how much you spend. People with flashy clothes. You got folks, young bucks these days. They got more money around their neck wearing a normal t-shirt of some kind with some jeans and some $350 shoes. If you got $5,000 or $10,000 worth of jewelry around your neck, $450 shoes on your feet, $200 outfit that is really just a cotton shirt and some blue jeans with a name brand imprinted on it. Ask yourself, where does his money go? Because nothing he's wearing will turn him a profit. And the more he wears it, the more its value depreciates. Okay. This is the logic that we're talking about. From ladies, this is from your perspective now. No, I'm over here putting the men on spotlight for y'all real quick. When y'all looking for a good man, this is what y'all supposed to be looking at. Oh, he's reasonably attractive. How much does he have hair on his head? How much does he pay to keep it up? You know? Then if you make it to his house, does he own this house? Does he rent this house? How much money does he have to pay for this? The stuff that's in his house, whatever it is, does he own it or is it from rooms to go or a rental furniture store? That these are really important questions that you're supposed to be trying to hide, not hide, but find out. Now, from the men's point of view, guys, red bottom high heel shoes, $1,500 Coach purse, Louis Vuitton dress. That is the third lace front you've seen her in since you met her. All Brazilian weave. How much did that cost her? And how much of that does she expect to pay when y'all are in a relationship? It ain't about whether or not you can afford to pay for it. It's about how much money is coming out of the household for that upkeep. And is she willing to adjust on that? Does she own her own car? Is she renting? Is it leased? Does she have an apartment? Does she live with a friend or a family member? What's her credit score look like? I know women are checking men's credit scores and they're looking at their background checks and shit. Are you checking their financial background checks? Are you checking their criminal background check? You might fall head over heels with a woman that does not qualify to have children. You ain't think about that, huh? These women be paying attention. Fellas, y'all don't pay attention. Y'all just think, that's a nice ass. That's it. But real and truth, if you're a man and you're thinking about having kids, and you got to find out, does this woman have the kind of record that should be around kids? Y'all got to start thinking deeper on that first contact and the first 5 dates. Y'all are supposed to be finding this stuff out. So this money conversation should have happened before y'all committed. Within the first 10 dates, y'all should have been having this talk. Because when you deal with individuals that are lavish with their money, that guy that drinks on me, wasteful spending. All drinks on me, wasteful spending. That one guy that's making it rain in the club, throwing up all his money in the club, wasteful spending. That person that's clubbing every week, wasteful spending. Do you want to be in a relationship with an individual that is wasting money on a weekly basis? That's the question. Mama used to always say, you know what you're getting yourself into based on where you found them. If you found them wasting money, you're likely about to get yourself into a situation with somebody that's wasting money. This behavior often stems from deep insecurity, a need to project an image of success that they haven't actually earned yet. They see money not as a tool for building security, but as a means of validation. And that chase will inevitably lead to high interest debt that will drain your shared resources. The third wealth destroyer is a pattern of repeated financial bailouts. And this is the partner who always seems to be in a crisis. They can't make rent, their car broke down again, or they need help paying off a credit card again. Generosity is a wonderful quality in a partner, but when it becomes a one way street of constant financial rescue, it's a sign of profound irresponsibility. By repeatedly bailing them out, you aren't helping, you are enabling them. So, ladies, y'all know y'all got some of y'all out there that successful women, alpha boss ladies. She own her own car, but she lending it to her man. He driving around in her car, bringing back with no gas in it. Some of y'all got a man driving y'all car around, not putting gas in it, with a whole nother female in the car that is not his family member. Why he driving your car? Because his car broke. I actually had somebody come and talk to me, and I think I said this on the show once before. I actually had a female come and tell me how her man broke his car broke because I guess he hit a deer or something like that on his way back. So I did talk to y'all about this. So what happened was he starts taking her car to work, and now she's got to walk her daughter to the bus stop in the dark first thing in the morning for her daughter to go to school. I'm sitting over here wondering why the fuck this man ain't riding his bicycle to work and let her drive the child to the bus stop and sit in the car and chill out till the bus comes. The woman rationalizes it and says, "Well, I'm gonna get some exercise with my daughter. We're gonna have some quality time." Y'all could have got some quality time in the car. You can still get you some exercise when the sun come out. But this man crashed his shit. Why don't he utilize his insurance to get him a rental car that his insurance would pay for? What about that? They playing. They playing. Okay. You are preventing them from facing the consequences of their own actions, which means that they have no incentive to change their behavior. This is why Michael was like, "Oh, give them a car, they'll appreciate it or make them earn it, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Nah, put them in a financial responsibility to recoup debt. Validate by making them earn it from you in a safe and structuralized environment where you don't have to worry about them having their car repossessed by a third party. But if they can't afford to pay the notes on the car this month, they're walking to school because that's what would have happened. The car would have been taken from them by the dealership. You're not enabling them if you're showing them the consequences inside of your structure control of their negative actions of maintaining financial responsibility. He says, "You mean a six-figure woman bringing the car back empty? Nowadays, they have fuel delivered directly to the car." Actually, in Dubai, they have fuel delivered directly to the car. And if you have a Tesla, they might send somebody to come and charge your car. But in modern America right now, they do not have that many companies that I am aware of that will deliver you gas at market price. If they bring you emergency fuel, it will be at an inflated price, where instead of you paying $2 to $3 per gallon for gas, which is the standard rate for the kind of gas that you'll be putting in your car, you might be paying $5 to $10 a gallon per gas. And in an area where gas is more closer to $5 a gas, you will find that that gas will be sold from a third party to deliver it to you upward of $7 to $10 a gallon per gas for the emergency gas, where $30 worth of gas might get you $3 to $5 worth of gas or 3 to 5 gallons of gas. Where at the gas station, $30 of gas might get you closer to 7 to 10 gallons of gas, depending on what kind of fuel you're getting and what state you're in. Is it what's wrong with just staying out of debt? Well, you got to understand we're in a country that's already in $30 trillion worth of debt, with several over 80% of Americans that is in debt. You've got several generations of children that aren't even 18 yet that are already in the collection agency and don't know what a collection agency is. Okay? So, from the perspective of never get into debt before you knew what debt was, versus how do you get out of debt, and then how do you get into a relationship with somebody who knows how to manage debt? Two different things. Now, don't put yourself in any new unnecessary debt. Yeah, but what's wrong with managing debt more effectively as opposed to trying to eliminate all debt? Because you asked me what's wrong with just staying out of debt. Remember, I told you how your credit score could take a dip if you eliminate your outstanding credit history, those long standing lines of credit, by paying that debt off. If you have a revolving debt bill that is 20 years long, like student loans, that stay in good standings, especially if it's deferred, you don't have to pay it. It's still in good standings, and that is offset by your new debt. Especially if you have a bill that's not only deferred but not increasing in value, that's even better for you because it is forever going to stay where it was, and you can just start adding credit on top of it, reducing your debt to credit level. People don't think about stuff like this. Having a wasteful spender in your relationship creates toxic codependency that drains your finances and breeds resentment because you're going to get tired of paying for your partner's issues. The fourth red flag is any sign of gambling or addictive spending. And I can tell you from experience, this is horrible to experience. This is an immediate five-alarm fire. There is no getting around it. You need to have zero tolerance behavior with this type of recognition. Behaviors like gambling or compulsive shopping aren't just poor financial habits, they are wealth destruction in its most aggressive forms. Okay. You should wipe, you could find out that they can wipe out a lifetime of savings in a shockingly short timeline. And if you notice just the beginnings of your partner being secretive about their time or finances, getting defensive about losses, or borrowing money for unexplained reasons, you are dealing with a problem that requires extreme levels of professional help. He says you should write a book. I've been saying for years that I'm going to write a book. You see how long Chris O'Ket has been writing his book, the totally bodacious true story from the 80s. He's still writing that book. I'm waiting on him to send me chapter 2 of this book. He's going to be sending books all year for the next 2 years. He's been writing about the 80s for 10 years already. And I got the first copy that just came out. And as soon as I'm going to reach out to him today and see if they got some links for Amazon, or I'm going to start throwing them into the show so that y'all can take a look at them. I should write a book. That's exciting. Thank you. Tell which book you mean without the author or title. Look at that. Even my phone is excited about the fact that I'm talking about Chris O'Ket's book. Oh, see, I told y'all phones be listening. Phone and jumped in, start talking about something. That's exciting. Get out of here. Now, recognize until you resolve these types of issues, combining your financial life with this type of person is an exact act of extreme self sabotage. You're going to find yourself going under in this situation. Hold on a second. He says, have you read it yet? Have I read it? Yes, I've read it. I read all the books that I got. I'm not going to endorse something that I don't know nothing about. And he was in high school in this story. So even though in 88, 86, I was still running around in diapers, I still experienced some of the stuff that he's talking about in the early 90s. But at the same time, I was experiencing the last bit of what is considered 80s lifestyle in the 90s. We throw up 80s music and think that people born in the 80s would know all about the 80s music, but technically those of us that were born in the 80s were teenagers in the 90s, so we really would be hip on the 90s music more than the 80s music, but we listen to the reruns from the 80s in the 90s, which is why we know about the music from the 80s. But you should definitely pick up a copy of the book too, Michael. Finally, the fifth and most insidious red flag that we've got to look at real quick, and we got more to do, um, is going to be financial abuse or control. Now, this isn't always an obvious, and we're going to have to figure out how to navigate this one, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to sometimes can be misinterpreted. But it can look a lot like your partner insisting on controlling all of the bank accounts and giving you an allowance, which is different from you being the the type of person that is going to handle the finances so that your partner can focus on something else that is more taxing on them. Offering to handle the finances and demanding that I control the money are two different things. Offering, I'll focus on this so that you can focus on your exams because you're a college student and you can't balance the budget and meet your deadlines for your college is two different dynamics. A person that is demanding that they control all of the money, where's your paycheck, go get it, give it to me kind of situation, that is what we're talking about. To cover uh, what they believe that you're going to be trying to pay for going forward. That's the what we're talking about is the level of abuse and control. Audaciously true and totally awesome. That's the title of the book. Okay. And it's made by Chris Orquette. He typed this up with a typewriter, and then the publisher printed it out. So this is a very good book. He asked, well, I had to put it back up for you guys because he asked right here, what was the name of the book? This can also be them discouraging you from working or advising or advancing, not advising, advancing in your career to limit your financial independence. Now, some women have experienced this in their relationships where they're discouraged from getting a promotion. You won't be home for to do stuff that he wants you to do, this, that, and the third. Y'all can see this with men getting promotions to different locations where they have to move, they have to relocate, and the wife doesn't want to relocate. And now the man has to choose between his job and his family, and his wife is encouraging him to stay with his family and not move overseas. You have this happening in multiple dynamics where both men and women have been in situations where their partner discourages them from uh, um, advancing their careers and discouraging you from working also could be situations where your partner might want you to call in sick today and spend time with them at the house when you clearly have designated off days and today isn't one of those days, not in situations where you're working 7 days a week picking up too much overtime and your partner is encouraging you to get yourself some rest before you burn out. That's not the same dynamic. You've already had 2 days off. You had 3 days off because it was a holiday, and now your partner's telling you just take another day off, which is actually going to cost you money because this isn't paid time off. That type of negativity is what we're referring to in this situation. And this would limit your career and your financial independence. He said, don't use negative words in a conversation. Best way to shut down the conversation. Well, unfortunately, Michael, while that is a good insight, I have to say that sometimes the best way to go is to communicate in the third person when you are discussing how we are experiencing a problem because the situation at hand didn't go the way we might have expected it to. Instead of saying you fucked up the situation. However, if something negative happened, you can't not use negative words because it's a negative situation. It doesn't matter to whom you're talking to. What matters is you learn this in psychology. If you remove yourself from the situation, taking your emotions out of the situation, addressing the failure in the situation from a third person perspective, it's not um you or your fault or me and my fault. It is what happened versus what we would have hoped to happen. And how can we address what happened so that we can more meet what we would hope to achieve, prevents emotional distress from overwhelming your communication with your partner. That's what it's more about. So it's not just not using negative words. You want to not attack verbally your partner with direct accusations. That would be the more appropriate way to go. Because, for example, if you spent too much money out of our budget, bought something from Amazon, I'm not supposed to attack you by saying you fucked up the money because you spent too much money off of Amazon. I would approach the situation by telling you that we currently don't have enough money in the budget for the things that we had planned on covering due to unexpected purchases that maybe I was not aware of. Notice, I did not accuse you of making a mistake, but I did point out that actions that were beyond my knowledge or consent occurred that negatively impacted our current situation, which then allows you to be able to take accountability for the fact that you know what purchases I'm referring to, and you know what budget that we were supposed to have, and you know how much we don't have now because you know how much you spent. Now, my question on that would be, what do we do to prevent from having this shortage of income or discretionary spending in the future, allowing you to decide how your impulse buying can be readily rectified without damaging the success of the family. Instead of saying you need to come to me and get permission to buy something or something to that effect, we would um, negotiate how to approach it going forward. They said if we're in a relationship and talking about problems with a stranger, I mean, if you're in a relationship and you're talking about problems with a stranger, a lot of times we call that therapy, and a lot of times you're paying the other person to do it, to listen, or you come to the show and we talk about it here on the show. If there are friends, there will be problems. No, there wouldn't be problems. You guys would be voluntarily sitting there having that conversation because y'all clearly have a problem that y'all can't resolve between the two of you, and you need a third person's input. A lot of the times, most relationships in these days would rely on a third person friend to input themselves into your relationship debate, either a family or a friend. And you typically select the person that you think would be on your side. This level of triangulation, we talked about this last week. And if that person doesn't side with you to overpower the other person's position, then you get mad at your friend or your family member for not catching your side. But you're really trying to use a third person to help win a debate between your partner instead of negotiating. Some people try this at a therapist, and a professional therapist is not going to allow themselves to get between the two of you and make you two talk it out between the two of y'all. Because they better not be spending money from our account. Exactly. You're not supposed to be doing that. Uh, this money, like we talked about, our money, monthly spending money. I'm calling mom sister. All right. Uh, he said, never involve friends in your problems. Talk to a therapist. Exactly. You really and truly, you are supposed to keep the issues in your relationship between the two of you, and you are supposed to try your best to work it out. However, in situations where you are not capable of positively communicating with one another, it is always important to take yourself to a third party that is outside of your network, your social circle with you and your partner, so that that third person does not interact with your network after your engagement. So really, you're going for a therapist, and you're not going to go to one in your neighborhood. You're going to one outside of your normal stomping grounds. And that would be a better platform for you because you would see yourself talking to this person, confiding in this person. That person doesn't know nobody that you know. So that person is not talking about your personal issues with somebody else. Therapists have therapists because I mean, therapists take a lot of stuff. But you can do this with your church. Instead of going to your pastor, where your information is now common knowledge amongst the congregation, you can go to a church you've never attended before and go and get counseling from that guy because that person, not in your network, not in your neighborhood, doesn't know your social group, will not be able to communicate any information that he finds out about you or your relationship to your network. That keeps your personal problems personal. Not a lot of people think about this. Instead of going to your neighborhood church that you see every Sunday, you go to a completely different location. Now, why do you do this? Because the only way that you can keep a secret is if you're the only person alive to tell it. That's they say that the only way two people can keep a secret is if one of them's dead, right? The only way that you can keep a secret without having to take lives is if the person who knows about it and can tell about it is not anywhere near you where the information can get back to your network. So if you stay in one neighborhood and you go into a psychiatrist or a therapist that is 2 cities away, hour drive, and if y'all living in a small city, for small state, an hour drive, that's far, way out of the way. Go talk to somebody over there and they debrief you on what's going on. Then y'all can work on your relationship and y'all don't have any issues. Um, Healthy financial partnerships are built on equality and mutual respect. Any dynamic where one partner uses money to extort power over another person is not in a partnership. It is ideally a trap. It will not only destroy your wealth, but it's also going to destroy your self worth. This is different from when you tell your children what to do because you pay all the bills, which is one of the reasons why I told you teach your kids how to be responsible as young as possible. Make them practice that as young as possible and implement self sufficiency in them so that they can, at a safe age, start outsourcing ways to make legal compensation so that they can contribute to the household. By the time they make 16, 17 years old, they're self sufficient financially. They can contribute equally and then be respected on a more equal platform where their decisions are going to be based off of whether or not they got to go to work in the morning and whether or not they can afford the outcome of their decisions because you're not going to pay for any bad decisions that they make because they're financially capable of taking care of themselves. It makes them less dependent upon you, but it does take away a lot more of your authority as their parent. But it's not do as I say because I say so. It's take my advice because you'll benefit from it. Big difference. Recognizing these red flags isn't about being judgmental, though. It's about being strategic. So, how do you screen these traits without turning your dates into a financial audit? You don't ask to see their bank statements over appetizers. You use stealth wealth screening. It's about observation, not interrogation. It's about paying attention to the small clues that reveals a person's financial character. First timing is everything. The money conversation shouldn't happen on the first day. but it must happen before any serious commitment ever occurs. A good time to bring it up is when the relationship feels like it has long term potential, which isn't the first 3 dates, but it should happen within the first 10. Ease into it with broad values, and these value based questions will inherently aid you engaging the scenario. Any resistance from a low level, broad based question would lead you to understand that one, this isn't a good conversation to get into, and two, this isn't a good person to continue engaging with. Instead of how much debt do you have, try certain questions like what's your biggest financial goal right now? Or what does financial freedom look like for you? Open ended questions. These questions open the door to a conversation about their mindset without feeling like an accusation. And these two kinds of questions could be the kind of questions that you ask on date five, or date seven, before you think, oh, I should start moving some stuff around so I can move this person into my house. You should be able to have this kind of conversation. While their words are important, their actions are more telling. Pay attention to how they handle small financial commitments. When you go out with friends and agree to split the bill, do they pay their share promptly, or do they have to awkwardly be in a position where you remind them a week later? These small actions are a microscope of their overall financial integrity. Someone who is careless with small amounts of money will likely be careless with large amounts of money. So, a person that's able to throw money in the air night on the town every weekend is likely financially irresponsible. So, ladies, if you meet a guy that's walking down the street, he thinks that you're cute, you believe that you're cute, we're not going to argue about it. He's going to take you out to steak and lobster, waste of money. He's going to take you out on a night on the town, waste of money. He's going to take you to expensive dinner and a movie, waste of money. He's going to take you on a yacht trip and everything like that, waste of money. Think about how much did he know about you before he offered to spend almost $1,000 on you. Now, before you get excited, oh, I go to that. Da, da, da. Think about this. Do you want a man who is willing to throw $1,000 away to a complete stranger for a good time, or do you want a man that's fiscally responsible? Think about it. If he does not know your last name, because most women do not give their full name on a first encounter, if they give their real first name on a first encounter, because some will give a nickname, not even their real government name. So he does not know your last name. He does not know anything about you, and he is willing to put up $500 to $1,000 to entertain you. If this is what he's doing on his first encounter with you, you can only assume that this is his normal behavior patterns on a day to day basis, or a weekly or monthly basis, which means, did he present himself as a financially stable individual or a financially wasteful one? In my observation, he would be more wasteful than responsible. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to go out there and enjoy the night, but it means that as it relates to long term commitment, his mentality to spend as much money as he had accessible to him to entertain you was a poor financial idea. But what if the person's history isn't perfect? It's crucial to distinguish between a permanent character flaw and a reformed past, because a lot of us have a lot of knowledge about how not to fuck things up because we used to fuck things up so much in the past. A person might have old debt from a business failure or a period of immaturity. The red flag isn't a history in itself, it's the absence of growth after bad financial experiences. The real green flag is how they talk about it. So, do they take ownership of their past mistakes or do they blame others? A person on an upward trajectory has a plan. They can say, I racked up credit card debt in my early 20s, but I've been using a special strategy to pay it off. Even if they tell you specifically that I got that strategy from this and that podcast, because Xander tells me better ways to improve myself every week, they are showing you that they're budgeting and they are talking excitedly about hitting savings goals. A past mistake paired with present responsibility signals resilience and a powerful commitment to growth, which is a good thing. Another powerful tool is a money stress test. Observe how they react to minor everyday financial challenges. What happens when a restaurant tries to overcharge them? Do they get flustered and just pay it? Or do they calmly address the issue? That could happen without your involvement at all. You're sitting there and they put a couple extra items on the bill. The price that you saw on the menu could be different from the price that you were given on the bill. You could have gone to a restaurant that did not have mandatory gratuity on the menu, and they give you a bill with an inflated cost that doesn't match the cost of the food that you bought, where you find out at the bottom of the receipt that there is gratuity involved, and you might want to get some information about that. See how they handle it. If Here's the thing, and ladies, I want y'all to pay attention to this real good. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as we come through here, because if you suggest a fancy dinner, but then say, I'm trying to save a bit this month, how about we cook something at home instead? Is their reaction one of disappointment or do they embrace the new plan? So, ladies, if y'all are talking to a dude and he say he want to take you out and you want to go out for steak and lobster, and then he think, you know what? I'm trying to save a little bit of money this month. What if I cooked you the steak and lobster at the house? If y'all get mad at him offering to feed you at his place instead of an expensive behind restaurant, that is a red flag for him. He should avoid you at all costs. Now, also, understandably, ladies, y'all might not feel comfortable with a first date at a guy's house. Completely understandable. You might not feel comfortable with a first day at your house with a strange guy. Completely understandable. It does not change the dynamic that while he's trying to save a little bit of money, if you wanted to go to that five-star restaurant, you could say, well, I do want to go out with you. I would prefer to get to know you a little better before we end up at one another's place for dinner. How about I pay for this one and then you can cover the next one? Still, you're able to get whatever you're looking for, but you're able to show that person the respect that they're trying to balance their budget, which also shows negotiation skills. It also shows that you are not in it for his money, and it also shows that you have some level of value because you're willing to get in there and cover the cost when he got a plan that he's trying not to deviate from, but he still wants to spend some time with you and get to know you and enjoy you and build memories with you. A partner who can handle small financial pivots with grace is far more likely to be a supportive teammate when you face real financial headwinds. So that, oh, I only go to five-star restaurants. Oh, if you can't afford that, you can't afford me. She's not going to be the one that's going to help you cover the spread when you on furlough and you ain't got enough money to pay the bills. Just want you to understand that. One of the most effective screening methods is suggesting low cost or free dates just to see if they get pissed off about the idea. Go for a hike, have a picnic, or visit a free museum. This serves as a brilliant dual purpose. First, it filters for people interested in your company, not your wallet. Second, It attracts people who value experiences over expensive consumption. A key trait of those with a wealth building mindset. Someone who finds joy in simple activities like having healthier relationships can potentially have even better relationships with money. Finally, observe how they treat service workers. This is really important because I can tell you long ago, long ago, I can tell you, I used to work in hospitality. Sometimes the way people talk to service workers is downright degrading and disrespectful. You need to be able to pay attention to how they talk to the help. Do they treat the waiter or the barista and the cashier with respect? Not necessarily saying, oh, do they tip them or not? Do they communicate with the service workers with respect? A person who looks down on others because of their job, whether it's their job title, their job description, often has unhealthy views of money, seeing it as a measure of a person's worth. So now I know some people are gonna say, well, what about those escorts and strippers and exotic dancers, and what about them? Like socially judge them. What about them? Well, look, the prestige of your job could start with blue collar work like restaurant work, dishwashing, garbage upkeep, and work your way all the way up because you got bartenders, shot girls, bouncers, DJs, work all the way up. And then you have more white collar jobs that are a little bit more prestigious. If a person values you for who you are, you can be the gardener and still be a fantastic husband. You can be a housekeeper and still be a fantastic wife. An individual that is excessively judgmental to the type of job that you have, not respectful and appreciative of the fact that you have a job. This can lead to, if you stay in a relationship with them, a competitive rather than collaborative dynamic in your relationship. These are the types of relationships where when one person in a relationship starts improving in their career, the other person starts trying to undermine that, if not put extra effort into improving in their career and then rubbing it in your face. A partner who respects everyone is more likely to view you personally as an equal. So, ladies, if y'all are looking for a dude that is going to respect you for who you are, not what kind of body type you flaunt, you're looking for the kind of dude that respects everyone, even the help. These stealth screening techniques help you gather a huge amount of data about a person's financial character long before you ever have a direct conversation about their credit score. Once you've found a financially compatible partner, the next step is to design the architecture of your financial life together. How you structure your accounts will fundamentally shape your ability to build wealth as a team because there's no right answer. All of the financial information that I provide to you guys on the show, all of the tips and tricks that I give you guys onto the show, um, these are different ways. These are alternatives to what you already know. You can take what I give you and add to what you're already doing. You don't have to just drop what you're doing and make a 100% change to only do what I tell you. You can take whatever you benefit from what I give you, and you can apply that to how you do you so that you can do you better than what you used to do you, which is more beneficial for everyone else involved. Because my legacy is the success of the people around me. So if you made yourself a better you because of coming to this channel, then Gold star for me. Understanding the most effective models is going to be key here. Now, the first model that we're going to be talking about is complete merger or all in approaches. In this system, you and your partner combine all of your income into a joint account. Not everybody is comfortable with this model, but this model works well for couples with similar financial habits. So if y'all both like to save, y'all both like to invest, y'all both want to save up your money to buy a house, y'all both want to save up y'all money so that y'all can retire early. If y'all are both trying to save up money to travel, where you can work in the travel dates on both jobs without having to risk losing one of the jobs, this is good for y'all. This will also foster a powerful sense of teamwork and build exceptional levels of trust between the two of you. On the other end of the spectrum, this is the totally separate model. Now, here, you both maintain individual accounts with no joint accounts, transferring money to each other as needed to cover shared expenses. And this approach is gaining excessive popularity, especially among couples who enter a relationship with significant assets or exceptional debts of their own. It's a primary benefit because it preserves financial autonomy. I don't need to know how much you got or how much you owe as long as you contribute your share to the pot so that we can take care of our shared core expenses. And it also provides a layer of protection if your partner makes a poor financial decision or if you are in the type of relationship where your partner is trying to cut and run. The downside to this particular type of model is that it can sometimes feel less like a partnership and more like a roommate arrangement. Now, this brings us to what is arguably the most flexible model for a modern couple. And I've mentioned this to you guys on the show before. It is the hybrid approach, often called yours, mine, and ours. Now, this structure offers a brilliant balance of teamwork and autonomy. And I talked about this earlier today. Here's how it works: you open up a joint account for you and your partner to share for life. Things like the rent, utilities, groceries, joint savings goals, which are separate from your individual savings goals, separate from, so like your escape fund, that's a separate savings goal. Your own personal stuff that you want to do for you, um, extracurricular whatever's, that's different from this. Then you're going to contribute to the account every month to cover the cost of the shared stuff that is guaranteed. Everything else remains in separate accounts for your personal spending, whatever you plan on doing with it, however you plan on doing it. Okay. Now, the power of the hybrid model lies in its approach to contributions. Now, instead of a rigid 50-50 split, which can be unfair if there is an income disparity, you can contribute a proportional amount to the relationship. So let's say a partner earns 120,000 a year, 60% of their total income, and a partner B earns 80,000 a year, 40% of their total income. If their shared monthly expenses are $5,000, partner A would contribute $3,000 and partner B would contribute $2,000. This method is equatable rather than equal. So instead of you going 50-50, if you're making far less than I'm making, and then I give you half of what the bill is due, I might be giving you a larger percentage of what I have in comparison to you giving a larger amount because you make more than I do, and vice versa. In relationships where women get men that make more money than a woman, she might put up 30% because he makes three times more than her, and he might be putting up 70% because he makes three times more than her. But the amount will proportionately cover the expense. Your discretionary is still more accessible. This hybrid structure solves very large quantities of problems that happens in relationships, and it provides transparency for shared responsibility, but gives each partner the freedom to manage their own money without scrutiny. So you don't need a conversation every time you want to buy a new pair of shoes, get you some stilettos, skimpy outfit to go out on the town with your friends, even though, you should respect your man and never put yourself in a position of overexposure. And ladies, before y'all ask me what is overexposure, well, to be fair, if it is not identified as modest, it is overexposure. So cleavage is overexposure. More than the neckline, truthfully, is overexposure. If you have to be concerned about them seeing your underwear when you bend over, it is overexposure. Technically, thigh is overexposure. Technically, more than an arm. Shoulders are overexposure. I'm just calling it like I see it. Now I'm not telling y'all that y'all just have to dress like nuns when y'all get into relationships, but you can find that the sexy outfits you used to wear as a single woman is technically not appropriate when you are in a relationship. Doesn't mean that you throw those clothes away when you get into a relationship, but it means that you wear them less often to respect the fact that you are now taken. The same way you take the for sale sign off of your car as soon as you buy it. Not too many people ride around with a for sale sign on their car right after they buy the car. They try to take that off before they get out the parking lot. And likewise, when you commit to a relationship, you stop looking like you're available and you start looking like you're taken. You might switch your outfit to a sexy librarian, but you're no longer going to look like a stripper. Plain and simple. Now, this dramatically reduces friction over minor spending, and it allows you to build wealth together while still maintaining a healthy sense of financial independence. And one of the things that I like about this particular model is that if you're the kind of person that saves in addition to the money that you're going to save joint, if a family emergency comes up, you might have extra capital. I don't spend money on most things, but I do impulse buy. So what happens is that I build up a large quantity of money from available discretional spending. And then if I end up deciding to impulse buy on something, I have a large quantity of money there that I should have been impulse buying over the last several months. If you decided to say, well, I'm going to impulse buy off of $100 a month worth of capital, but you don't buy anything for 12 months, the one time you decide to buy something that costs $1,200, you still have $1,200 of money that you never spent, plus the extra $100 you're going to dedicate to that this month to cover the taxes on it. It works itself out. If you're the kind of person that, you say, well, I'm going to put away $100 a month worth of discretional spending on impulse buying, and you don't buy anything, but then all of a sudden you realize you got to buy new tires for your car, $750. You've been sitting on discretionary money for so long, you forgot that you were supposed to be buying stuff, and now you need tires. You go buy $750 worth of tires out of the $1,200 worth of money you didn't spend impulsively. Well, technically, it's an emergency buy, but you went on and bought you a full set instead of getting you just one tire. By having the discretionary capital available, you don't have to negotiate with your partner to say, hey, can I buy tires for the car? But you should respectfully come back to your partner and say, hey, I bought tires for the car. So we don't have to worry about that now. I still believe that even if you do have discretionary freedom to do whatever you want to do with your money, you should be able to be transparent with your partner and at least let them know what you bought and why you bought it. The reason for that is that if you do not feel comfortable with telling your partner the motivation that led you to buy that, then you probably shouldn't have bought it. It's not about asking for permission or getting some type of validation about it. It is about joint accountability. If I bought something that made absolutely no sense just so that it could be in the house collecting dust, I have to make it make sense to myself. So if I can't explain to the person across from me that is contributing to my success why I'm about to impulse buy on this situation, then I can't validate it to myself as to why I'm impulse buying on this situation. And I just like it is not validating it. Like we had a lady on the show that she was talking about she spends about $5,000 a year on makeup because she really likes wearing makeup. She doesn't wear it all the time, but she does it for her podcast. See, up until you said podcast, there was no reason for spending $5,000 worth of makeup. But if you did hit uh the podcast scenario and start thinking about, oh, endorsement deals where I can get the makeup for free, tax deductions, I can claim this as expenses towards the podcast being a business. Now you're getting all of this makeup because you are going to try to make money off of advertising the products for the companies. When you validate it for yourself, you can validate it for someone else. It's not about whether or not you feel guilty about the spending. It just makes more sense for you. But it also includes your partner. Because what if you decide to spend your money on something that's going to cost you more money down the line? Like a domain website, a domain and a website, or a subscription for something, a trial basis that's going to end up having a monthly reoccurring bill on it. You tell your partner, "Hey, I went and got Amazon. I got the free trial for Amazon Prime. Congratulations." But before that monthly subscription comes up, are you going to keep that Amazon Prime because you know they're going to charge you for it in a couple weeks? Which reminds you, if you only got it for the free thing, the free shipping, and you're not going to use it again for quite a while, do you really want to waste the money on having a membership? Or are you actually going to have something shipped over to the house on a regular basis often enough to validate that um, free shipping? Some of y'all that ends up with get a Walmart membership card if you live within the range of a Walmart that delivers. They deliver if you have the membership, and if you pay over, I think $35 per order, they ship it to your house for free. So instead of spending $10 a month on getting food dropped off at your house, you can just order it online, pay the taxes for it, free delivery. You don't have to tip the driver. But if you're gonna show appreciation for the service workers, you might throw down some tip down for the driver because they would have charged you $10 for shipping if you paid the $10 for the delivery person. There's their compensation for them taking you places or bringing you stuff, but you get the convenience of having it come to your house. So the $50 a month or $100, no, it's $50 or $100 a year, depending on which plan you have. But if you're spending $100 a year across 12 months, that is less than $10 a month for the delivery. So if it costs $10 a month for the delivery, and you're buying over $35, they're going to give you free delivery. The membership ultimately pays for itself, and then you're going to get what 3 4 times a week you're going to have something dropped off at the house. Every week you're going to have something dropped off at the house. Now you don't have to rush to the store. You got more time to be at home. You spend more time with your partner. You validate why you got what you got. See what I'm saying? And then if you can, like I said, if you can validate it for yourself, you can validate it for your partner, but your partner knows what's going on. Okay. Now we've talked about the math and the mechanics of building wealth in couples. But let's end on what might be the most powerful yet overlooked financial asset of all. You will never see it on a balance sheet, but its return on investment is immeasurable. I call it the return on peace. Pay attention, ladies, fellas, like and subscribe. Make sure that y'all hit those notification buttons because this is really important. What is the return on peace? Have mercy. We need to put this on a shirt. It is the profound financial benefit of a stable, low drama, emotionally supportive relationship. It is the profound financial benefit of a stable, low drama, emotionally supportive relationship. We rarely think of peace in a financial term, but we absolutely should. Chaos is expensive. Drama is a tax on your time, on your energy, and your focus. Think about when y'all end up in an argument right before you get ready to go to work. Now you're late for work because you stayed there trying to fight your position with your partner instead of taking your behind to work. Think about how exhausted you are when you come home from work and now you end up in an argument for whatever is going on, and you're not able to get the rest that you were supposed to have. Think about when you were supposed to be focusing on where you're going and you end up in an argument in the car with your partner and now you done missed the turn you were supposed to take. Constant conflicts and emotional upheaval actively drains the very resources that you need to build wealth. Think about the cognitive load of a difficult relationship, the hours you spend arguing or worrying, or hours that you aren't spending on your career, on a side hustle, on a self sustainable online business, being a digital nomad, on your career specifically, on simply resting so that you can be productive tomorrow. The mental energy consumed by relationship drama is energy that is stolen directly from your capacity for financial growth. You can't think about ways to make yourself more financially successful if you're pissed off about what your partner just did or said. Now, contrast that with a partner who provides a foundation of emotional stability. Now, this kind of partnership doesn't just feel better, it's functionally a performance enhancing drug for your entire life, including your finances. Because when your home life is a sanctuary, not when you're hiding in the garage in your man cave, or in the backyard in the shed in your man cave, or hiding in one of the rooms that is the home office with the door locked so that nobody can come in there and mess with you. When your entire house is a sanctuary, you have more mental bandwidth to devote to everything else. Think about this, ladies. Y'all need to start adding bring peace to this man into your resume, because you can focus better at work, which leading to a better performance, which is leading to promotions when you are more productive in more places in bringing peace into your household. You have the clarity to make sound long term financial decisions instead of stress induced short term mistakes. And this is where the traditional woman came from with the successful men, because the women who used to bring back in the 60s and 70s peace to the household allowed the man to come home from work and figure out how he was going to do more for her and bring in more for her. The modern 2025 relationship doesn't have that. She gets it on her own. Who gives a shit if he's at peace? He can't rest. He's got to get up and move this couch because I said move the couch, not because it needs to be moved. We have to think about the difference in the relationships that you have now in 2025. Ladies, y'all come home from work. Y'all took off your work shoes and you feet hurt and you tired. You don't want your man to come and stress you out, right? Why would your man want the same? You got to realize that bringing peace into the relationship is the second biggest thing next to making sure that you have financial compatibility in your life choices. It should be the biggest thing, but if next to making sure that y'all have financial compatibility, because financial compatibility is the most devastating impact on your relationship. This one right here would be the second highest thing on the list. The financial cost of a chaotic partner is tangible. It's the reality of retail therapy. To cope with a fight or the lost income from taking a mental health day after a sleepless night of arguing. Reality therapy is going to be when you go and buy a gift to make up with your partner. Whether it was your fault that the argument started or not, you're going to make peace with your partner by buying them a gift. Losing money from a mental health day is that you're so stressed out and you call out at work saying that you don't feel good so that you can uh, regurgitate or replenish your ability to remain calm before you go to your stressful job. You also have scenarios where you don't actually take the day off so that you can focus on yourself. You actually end up taking a day off because you didn't come down with a cold from the stress. Your immune system has been broken down and you can't even get out of bed. You're full of pain. Your eyes is watery. You're tired. You got a migraine that is bigger than any hangover you've ever had in your life. And you just cannot get out of bed to go to work. And now you got to stay in the house and rest and hope that the problem that caused you to be this way goes to work so that you can actually get some rest. That's a mental health day. Okay. The return on peace is going to be just as real. It's the stability that allows you to build an emergency fund because you aren't constantly dipping into it for relationship included crises. Relationship included crises is that she's got to buy an outfit because she's got something that she wants to go do. Relationship included crises is he's got to go to his D&D tournament and spend all this money on new decks of cards and entry fees to the tournament. It it goes both ways. It's the mutual encouragement that gives one of you the confidence to take a calculated career risk, knowing that you have a supportive partner and a second income as a safety net. When you're evaluating a partner, you should absolutely look at their financial habits, but don't forget to evaluate their capacity to create peace in your life. How do they handle stress? Do they seek to resolve conflict or to just simply win the argument? A partner with a moderate income who is a rock of emotional support will almost always contribute more to your long term net worth and happiness than a high income partner who brings chaos into your life, especially one that is extremely wasteful. The ultimate wealth multiplier isn't a hot stock tip, it's a partner who makes your life calmer and clearer. That piece is the fertile ground in which all long term success is grown. Building wealth is a team sport, and choosing your teammate is the most important draft pick that you'll ever make. The principles that we've talked about today, from shared costs to self cleaning, teaching your kids how to be teammates in your investment plans and opportunities, are the playbooks that self couples, the successful couples, can use. All of you can use this, everyone that comes. It's not about luck, it's about being intentional. Everything that we do in modern days, it's not putting it in faith, it's not putting it on the resurrection, it's not putting it on the government, it is not rolling the dice on luck. It is intentionally choosing, which, by the way, is the largest foundational expectation of love. Love is not something that just miraculously metabolizes out of nowhere. It is a choice. You choose to love this person. You choose to be involved in this person. You choose to stay with this person. You choose to give 20 years of your life for this person. That is love. Love is a choice. It is an intentional choice. Your emotional attachment to that person might not be a choice, but to dedicate yourself to that person is always a choice. And finding a person that brings you peace is also a choice. Make sure that y'all keep mashing those reaction buttons. If you are serious about building not just wealth, but a richer life in every sense of the word, you guys should leave with a challenge. And this is a challenge that I want you guys to work on because I'm going to be here every night of the week around about the same time every night of the week. And you guys got to understand that I'm going to check and see. Your homework is to schedule a money date with your current partner if you have one. Doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a scary conversation, and it shouldn't cost you money at all. Just set aside 30 minutes over the next week. Go for a walk, grab a coffee, make some coffee in the living room, and start with one simple question. What is the one financial goal that we can work on together in the next year? Make it a ritual, not a confrontation. I'm not asking you to stop doing stuff that cost us money. I'm asking you what is one thing that you can think of that we can work on together in the upcoming year. Start there. Let your partner come up with something, you come up with something else. Nobody's response is a wrong response. This is not a conversation to ridicule. This is a judgment free, resentment free experience. No retaliation in this experience. This conversation is purely brainstorming. If both of you agree on any one or more things, yeah, your idea is good and my idea is good. We can do both. Just got to put up enough money to do it. And then every week, check and see how much progress you have made on whatever it was that y'all agreed on doing. Status reports. Continue to remind each other. We decided to invest in stocks. I selected 54 of them. I put them on the screen more often than not on this show. And when they're going across the screen, you can write down all of the stocks related to some of the most undervalued stocks in the market. And if you wanted to invest in 10 of them, you could. Y'all decided to save money. Y'all can do it that way. Whatever y'all want to do. Gold and silver. Somebody said on the show today, investing in gold and silver. Somebody said a few days ago, invest in cryptocurrency, whatever it is that you want to do, but then follow up on it. How much have we put towards it? How much growth have we made? What, how much have we lost? Should we invest in something else? Should we see a financial advisor? What else can we do to make ourselves more successful? You guys are coming together to find other ways to make yourself successful. I had a good buddy of mine that I've known since college who said he wanted to be a millionaire. By this time last year, he said he wanted to be a millionaire. In order to be a millionaire, you got to have a 20-year plan. It shouldn't always take you 20 years to get there, especially if you got a partner with you. But you got to have a 20-year plan. What do we plan on doing to ultimately make about $500,000 in the next 10 years? Not how much income that you can make, how much can we contribute towards a $500,000 goal in the next 10 years, which means that we're looking at trying to come across about $250,000 in the next 5 years, which means that we're trying to cross over well over $100,000 in the next 2 years, which means that we're trying to see if we can pocket roughly $50,000 a year. Can we do that? Can we really pocket 50,000 a year? Money that we don't need to spend. Can we do that? That's a good goal. How do we achieve holding 50,000 a year, especially if that 50,000 a year is turning a profit? How do we do that? That's a good goal to have. 40,000 a year being put away with 10,000 a year worth of interest, that's about 25%, right? That's still 50,000. But ask yourself, can we do that? Can we put away 45,000 a year and get $5,000 to $10,000 a year worth of return on our investment, where we're ultimately banking 50,000 a year, so that we could be millionaires in 10 years, or we can be $250,000 inside of 10, 300, or not 300, like $750,000 within 10 years, so that we can quit working and live off of our investment. That's a good goal to set for your relationship. You got to think about this. The journey to building a stronger financial future with a partner starts with a single conversation. It starts with a decision to stop leaving your financial future to chance and to start building it together intentionally and as a team. The difference isn't just the money in the bank, it is the strength of the partnership that you build along the way. We've got to stop thinking with our junk, fellas. We got to start thinking with our brains. And ladies, we got to stop flaunting what we got and start exploiting what we can do. Because in order for you to find the person that is best fit for you, you have to present yourself in a fashion that attracts that type of person. Hey, Horn, been a while, buddy. We need to put a lot more effort into finding what we need by carrying ourselves in the same fashion as what we need. And a lot of times women have done this in a way because they have gone to college and got an education so that they can find an educated man. They have gotten good careers so that they can find them a financially savvy man. Just about everything that a woman can check off as an expectation for a man on their list of what they believe a successful man should be, women are becoming that, and more props to them. I think the only flaw that they have in their model right now is instead of them finding a man that does just as good as them and considering that an equal, they're still looking for a man that does it better than them and considering that man an equal. And I think that that's a dynamically flawed scenario, because if you are the perfect man in your life, ladies, then how are you going to find a man better than you? It's not possible. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, I celebrated to the best of my ability. I can't really call it a celebration. I mean, we ate food. It wasn't a bunch of party streamers and thousands of people. Um, it was food. Thanksgiving is not as big of a celebration as it used to be back in the day, 50 years ago. It is all of 2, 3 weeks worth of preparation for all of 1 to 2 hours worth of eating with people that you know sometimes don't even like. So I mean, it's not as big of a thing as a birthday party or a Christmas party. How you doing, Tri-Edge? Special shout out to Tri-Edge from Twitch. I told you guys on Twitter. I said, hey man, if y'all interact with the show and y'all provide insight to the show, it's strongly encouraged. It's a highly interactive podcast. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I really appreciate it. Oh, look, hey, look, I'm here. I still got my pie. And this is the first of two pies. I got to go back in there and make the second pie. I'm going to make the second pie after the show before I go to work. I made sure this is a whole pie. I ate the pie by myself. I make some pie. I'm gonna say my daddy is like, he don't need no pie. He ain't got no teeth. This is my pie. This is my pie. I've been drinking pie and eating coffee, or eating pie and drinking coffee the whole show. I love this pie. It's real good pie. Well, and that's why the you got your family to be there. Well, most of them. There was certain family that I wish could have been here, but It was beyond my control. So the family that I did have with me, I was able to appreciate them. Do you spend with any siblings? I have siblings, and the ones that I could spend time with, I did. The ones that I couldn't spend time with, I didn't, because there are family that mean the world to me that I did not have access to this year. So that was a thing. So as as it were, with our main topic, I have broken it down to you guys multiple times before that there are ways for you to be able to make yourselves higher value individuals. And those higher valued individuals are going to be made that way not just by getting to the top tier of $1 million people. It is to also improve your decision making. It is to build yourself and your relationship with the people that are in your life to a level where you are satisfied, and not just satisfied, like you should be reasonably happy with the things that you've got going on. So I encourage you guys as we walk off the show tonight. I want you guys to make sure that you put time and effort into reevaluating the kind of relationships that you have with your friends and family members and the people that you claim to love. And then you want to reassess how y'all interact with one another financially. Because in your personal life, your financial decisions in your personal life, they're not always considered financial decisions. Because when you decide to spend money to go to an event for a friend to show support, it's money coming out of your pocket. When you decide to wingman a situation for a homie, that's money coming out of your pocket. When you decide to bail a friend out with their financial scenarios, that's money coming out of your pocket. When you decide to make up with a friend or a family member, or uh, reimburse them for your absence by buying them something as an I'm sorry gift, that is a financial decision. When you make a bad choice and then you break something, now you got to replace it. That's a financial decision. The things that happen in your personal life can impact you financially. And the more times that you impact your financial life, the more effort you have to put into your professional life in order to bring more capital in to cover those bad decisions in your personal life, which puts more pressure on your boss. It puts more pressure on your clientele if you're self employed, because if you've got to raise the prices to cover the spread, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. Now, we're going to walk off with starting off. I'll let you guys know. Make sure we're live 7 nights a week so you guys can like and subscribe. Y'all going to come back and see me tomorrow because we got way more information that you guys can benefit from, because we're doing personal development, self development, uh, negotiation skills, and everything everything under the sun. We're going to be covering stuff like that throughout the weekend, and questions and comments from the fans on Sunday. And Dylan had a great idea. If you get here before I do, start asking questions in the comments section, and I'll start the show by answering a bunch of questions. But before I head out, I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to have to keep asking you, ladies, to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. That is all I have for you guys for tonight. Uh, as we are a male driven podcast from the male's perspective, ladies, just note that the information that I provide to the fellas is not just to make the men higher value men. Ladies, y'all can use this information as well to make yourselves higher value women. I'm a man of uniformity. So, I mean, once the roles are reversed, the expectation should always be the same. Closest thing to equality that we're truly going to get. So, remember that when you guys are thinking about the stuff that you don't like in your life, think about how much of that you can control, and the things that you are capable of controlling. You want to make sure that you put more effort into changing the things in your life that you don't like, so that you can make better changes towards the things that you do like. So a better way to put that is put effort into making positive change in your life, especially the things that you can control. Now, the things that you can't control, those are the things that you have to navigate around. You should not put as much effort and motivation and energy into the things that are beyond your control, well outside of your control. You navigate around those things, and then you will have a less stressful life. As it pertains to the interactions that you have with your partner, with your friends, with the people that you interact with in public, you are responsible for the things that you can control, and you can control your behavior, and you can control to a degree the behavior of the people around you, because you will not maintain your presence with somebody that you do not approve of their behavior. No, I'm not from the Matrix. I should have been, because then I would be a billionaire. I should be in Matrix Restarted, the sequel to the prequel. Um, so overall, it is important for us to make sure that we do not allow people in our lives to make negative decisions that directly impacts us or indirectly impacts us, because you can understand that when you're out there at a college party and then the person who's the drunkest decides that they're going to drive, you can understand that you have situations where you're in a moment where people are making bad choices, and you know that they're bad choices. You don't get involved in the bad choice, but if you stay, you're going to be involved in the outcome of the bad choices. Like if somebody decided to steal. In those situations, uh, those people would cause you to get in trouble right along with them. So if you know that what they're about to do is wrong, you remove yourself from the situation. If you're in a grocery store and you got a friend that steals, I don't know why you would go to a store with a friend that steals, but if you go to a store with a friend that steals and you catch them stealing, you don't got to rat them out. One, you're going to remove yourself from their behavior. And then two, you're not going to leave the store until after they left the store, because you're not going to be tied to their actions. Pay for whatever it is that you're going to pay for. Let them leave without you. You'll catch up later. They get caught for stealing. That's not about you. But if you know that you got a friend that steals, you don't take them to the store with you. That prevents you from being in a situation where you got to worry about getting stealing. These are the things that you have to pay attention to. He says that you hold them accountable. That's what real friends do. To a to a degree, you have to hold yourself more accountable than you hold them accountable. Because when you stand on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior, you tell your friends, if you don't tolerate smoking, you tell them don't smoke in your presence. If you don't tolerate drinking, you tell them don't drink in your presence. If you don't tolerate stealing, you tell them don't steal in your presence. If they decide to smoke when they decide to smoke, you leave. If they decide to steal when they decide to steal, you don't be a part of that. If they decide to get drunk and you don't want to be a part of that, you leave. That is how you hold them accountable. You don't chastise your friends and family members. Their ability to interact with you is based off of your demand that they respect your position, whatever your position is. And if they're not going to respect your position, then you're not going to be around them. That is how you hold them accountable. If they want your attention, it will only be positive attention. And if they bring negativity around you, you will leave the negative atmosphere. You will be known as no nonsense friend. You tell them to their face, quit acting like that. That's not always the case, because sometimes you can't tell me what to do. You're not my parent kind of behavior. So you just got to say, hey, I don't like what you're doing, so you're not doing it around me. If you're going to do that, I'm going to go. Some people don't like drugs. It doesn't matter if you got a medical marijuana card or not. If you're doing drugs, that's okay. Go ahead and do it. I'll be gone when you done. You let me know. Maybe I'll come back, maybe not. But you're not doing drugs around me. Is if they're breaking the law, that is different from smoking, because it is illegal, and it would help them if their friend told them that their behavior is wrong all directly. Well, truth be told, some people do what they want to do regardless of whether or not it's right or wrong, because some people are used to only getting negative attention, and that still puts you in a compromising position, because you can tell your friend that stealing is wrong, but that's not going to stop them from stealing. You can tell your friend drunk driving is wrong, but that's not going to stop them from getting drunk at the bar and then deciding that they're the designated driver. You can tell your girlfriend not to put on that extremely short dress and go out in the middle of the night calling herself looking cute so that she can attract some predator that's going to take advantage of her in a dark alley, but that's not going to stop her from putting on that dress. The fact is that if I tell you what I believe is in your best interest to perform and you don't respect me enough to do what I say, it is my responsibility to say that I'm not going to be in that location when the negative consequences of your decision impacts you, because I told you not to make that bad decision, and I am not going to bail you out of a bad decision that I disapproved of with forewarning. So not all the time can you just tell them don't do something that will catastrophically impact their position. A lot of times you just have to say, I'm not going to be a part of this bad decision. You're about to start racing at the red light. Let me out the car. Y'all go ahead and do what you got to do. I'll catch up with you in a quarter-mile run. I don't have to be in the car when the cops pull the car over because I wasn't in the car when the car took off at the light. If Paul Walker would have got out before his friends started acting an ass, he would still be alive today. If you hold yourself responsible by saying, I'm not going to be a part of this bullshit, you don't have to discipline your friends or your family members. You're just not going to be a part of the bullshit. Uh, so that's when I would implement your strategy of removing yourself from situation. I started implementing that from the beginning. He said, black fatigue is a legit growing sentiment in circles because of the hood games. Well, truth be told, we have a large level of fatigue for a lot of different reasons. I'm glad that you brought that up. Some people might look at that as he just trolled me. I'm gonna have to cover that topic. I'm gonna cover black fatigue next week, not this week. But it ain't just about the hood games. But I'm gonna talk to you about that. We gonna cover that topic soon, and you're gonna come to understand that there's more to that than what you think it is. So y'all gonna have to like and subscribe and stay tuned to that particular topic. There was a sign by an elevator that said it only goes up. I asked the lady at the counter, "How do you get down?" And she said 311. Well, 311 is better than 911. I don't think it's a race related fatigue. I believe it is a fatigue of hood culture. Exactly. Exactly. Uh the we have a modern generation 18 to 25 that is trying so hard to be cool that they're emulating hood behavior. And it is not going to benefit them when they decide to start maturing, and it is negatively impacting a lot of our environments. So it is a good way for us to recognize social behavior by discussing that specific fatigue so that we can understand what it is and what to do about it. Because again, here on this and that, when we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we talk about things that impact your life directly, that ultimately affects your income. It affects your ability to make, save, and invest money. Because your behavior when you trying to be cool, when your pants is hanging off you behind and your expensive shoes ain't tied and you look like the suspect on the end of the block, it doesn't just build a negative reputation with the police, it makes you look bad for your next job interview. You are the first advocate of yourself when you walk outside of your house. Before you start deciding to be responsible, people are looking at you. When you decide to start being responsible, people have already seen you. So if you're putting on a front, they know how you carry yourself when you're not at this job interview. You might have your tie crooked with a button down shirt on in this job interview, but you look like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys on a block on Friday, and I recognize you. Your first impression of me is the first time you paid attention to me existing. But my first impression of you is when I first recognized you existed. And I could have saw you like Job under the tree before you saw me. So you are supposed to carry yourself the way you want to be perceived 100% of the time. So that in the moment, that the first time you encountered them is not the first time they encountered you, that they already have a positive interpretation of you when you first realize that they exist. Because if not, it's going to be harder for you to get promotions. It's going to be harder for you to get raises. It's going to be harder for you to find a good living situation. It's going to be harder for you to find a respectable partner because more and more people, especially women, are looking your ass up before they find out who you really say you are. They look up to see what you are. And fellas, ladies don't come to you with questions that they don't already think they know the answer to. Men come and ask questions that they don't know the answer to. Women come and do their research on your ass first, and then they ask you questions that they already know the answer to because they want to see how honest you are. So you have to carry yourself in a better position. Y'all generation right now, 18 to 25, 16 to 18, y'all put y'all whole life on social media. Photos, videos, shorts. It's somewhere. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It's somewhere. MySpace. It's somewhere. Your whole life, LinkedIn, it is somewhere. And everybody, including the three major credit bureaus, can look you up based on your name, your social security number. Some places is linking your driver's license and your social security number to your social media platforms. They can find you, find videos about you, and then they can link you to the keg stand at the college party where somebody overdosed. They can link you to the traffic crash where somebody wasn't supposed to be driving. They can link you to conflict that you shouldn't have been involved in, and then say, hey, this person doesn't make good decisions because he affiliates with people who don't make good decisions. And that will stop you from being successful. And you're wondering, why can't I get a job? My resume looks good because the people that you associate with and the stuff that you do when it's not about business, that is what causes you to not be successful. Y'all remember that just the other day, Max Opposer was on here talking about how he got a sponsorship with his skateboarding. What's the first thing I told him as soon as I found out he got a sponsorship? You need to behave going forward because your sponsors have a reputation and you are not supposed to tarnish your sponsorship's reputation. The sponsor will drop you if you do something that the sponsor does not agree with or does not align with. But you could get paid to be yourself if you carry yourself with integrity. So, black fatigue, that's a good discussion to have. That's a great discussion to have. I'll try to throw it up for next Thursday's show and we'll see what's going on. Now, I really appreciate those of you that rode the wave with us throughout the last 3 hours. And oh yeah, so I'm not even gonna touch that question because what does that have to do with your direct income? What does something that happens outside of America have to do with your direct income? If you can't reach it, what's it got to do with you? You got to focus on the stuff that can directly and indirectly negatively impact your success. And if there's conflict in another country, does not impact your success in this country, that is not what you should be putting your efforts into. You should be putting your efforts into what's impacting you right now, like voting on that 50-year mortgage, which will lower your monthly payments on your house or increase your ability to pay off the principal faster and allowing you to have leverage towards lower payments during months when you don't got it all. Increasing the equity in your house. Well, if in the event that you need to remortgage your house in order to go and do something else that might cost you more money than your emergency fund, you can't do that if you don't have extra equity in the house, if you're only paying the bare minimum. So I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.